What's the wildest thing your child has done? Did you have a good laugh or learn an important lesson from that experience? Do you want to share your story? Maybe you can't stop thinking of a huge accomplishment that you had from being a mom. I want to hear about that too. Welcome to my podcast. The Wealth of Wellness presents This Incredible Mom Life. Hi, I'm Ami, a mom of 3 boys who have given me countless laughs, proud mama moments, and endless challenges. Join me every week as we hear the craziest and most unbelievable mom stories. I'll be sharing the huge accomplishments and triumphs of both our moms and their kids. We'll giggle, cheer on the kids, and discuss obstacles and lessons learned along the way. I want to hear if your 3-year-old says a stampede of boogies just came out of his nose, or if your 10-year-old created an infomercial to save his dad's receding hairline, or even if your 13-year-old's robotics project turned into a disaster. I also want to know if your 15-year-old finally came out of his shell in high school and joined a bunch of clubs, and even the fencing team. Let's share, laugh, learn, and grow together, one crazy mom story at a time. Hello, welcome back to another episode. Today I have another super mom guest with me. Laura Flowers is a transformational life coach, Reiki Master, and school psychologist with over 18 years of experience helping others navigate emotional and mental health challenges. She specializes in empowering women to reconnect with their authentic selves, overcome self-doubt, and create careers and lives aligned with their true purpose. Drawing from her deep background in psychology and energy work, Laura offers both practical strategies and intuitive guidance to help clients experience lasting transformation. She is also the host of the Rediscovering You podcast, where she shares inspiring conversations and actionable tools for personal growth and professional growth. Thank you, Laura, for taking time out of your busy day to be here with me.
Thank you, Ami. I'm really happy to be here and excited to have this conversation with you.
Me too. So tell us who you are a mom to.
I am a mom to 2 amazing boys, Brandon, who's now 12, almost 13, and Jack, who's 9.
Nice. Another boy mom.
Yeah.
I have to find me some girl moms because I have a lot of boy moms, but that's okay. We have the best stories.
We have so many good stories.
Well, let's dive right in. Jump into one of your mom stories.
So when I knew I was coming on your podcast, I'm like, oh my gosh, what story do I want to tell? Because there's just so many, so many. But I kept coming back to this one story that I'd like to share about my son, Brandon. So when he was about, I'd say 4 or 5 years old, he started coming to me and my husband, reporting something to us that was really alarming, at least because I didn't know what it was. He kept coming to us and saying, like, Mom, Dad, I keep seeing these things in my vision. I keep seeing like these dots. He described them as eyeballs that were just kind of floating around in space. I'm like, okay, well, this doesn't sound, I'm like, is this your imagination? Is it when you're just waking up and you're still kind of sleepy, coming out of a dream state? Like, what is happening? But he was consistent. It's all day, every day. It's when he's in a dark room about to go to bed, when he's in a classroom sitting in school. It doesn't matter. Didn't matter. They were everywhere. So I'm like, okay. I'm like a newer mom at this point. I'm only 4 or 5 years in. So I'm like, oh no, what do I do? So I brought him to like the pediatrician, and the pediatrician's like, well, this isn't normal. And let's refer you to a neurologist. So I get in line to see like this big fancy neurologist who does all these brain scans and asks him all these questions. And she's drawing a blank. Everything looks perfect, imaging wise. Like, okay, no idea what's going on. So she had the lovely recommendation for me that I should maybe consult with the school psychologist. Now that's so funny to me because I happen to be a school psychologist and she doesn't know this about me. So I'm like, okay, thank you so much for that. So we just kind of had this big question mark in our family for a while as to what was going on with Brandon. Why was he experiencing these things? Because it was something that was very confusing to him, unsettling to him, didn't know what it was. And so I was very much at first thinking like scientifically, okay, we've got to rule this out. We also brought him to a vision doctor as well. Like, is there something structurally wrong with his eyes? Okay. Everything coming up with a big blank. So we're just trying to console him and help him. Like, we're going to figure this out, buddy. It's going to be okay. then it kind of like dawned on me at one point because I'm also a very spiritually aligned person and I'm very much into the afterlife and energy work and knowing that there's energy in different forms all around us. So I was going to see a medium at one point because I do this periodically in my life. And then at the close of our session, she was like, "Do you have any other questions for me?" And I thought of Brandon. I'm like, "Actually, I do. My son has been reporting that he's seeing these shapes in his field of vision. Like they look like eyeballs. They're round. They're present always. Like, have you ever heard of anything like this? What is this?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, yes, this is so common. I had that when I was his age too. Those are orbs. He's seeing orbs. Totally normal for totally intuitive kids or extra sensitive kids to experience this. It'll go away around 8 or 9 years old." So I said, "Okay, what do I say when he brings them up?" So she gave me language to use and was just like, "Okay, just say, it's nothing to be scared of. It's just people that are maybe energy of showing you that they love you, that they're here to support you, they're rallying around you." Give him that language to normalize it and make it seem like it's nothing at all to be scared of, and it's just the love and light of different energies that are around him. And so we started having those conversations at home at a very young age. Um, and sure enough, like clockwork, 8 or 9, it just went away. They're gone. And I'll every now and again ask him about it now. He's almost, as I said, 13. Doesn't see him. He remembers the experience, but doesn't happen to him
Oh,
anymore.
I've never heard of this.
Me neither. I was really like, what's going on?
Yeah. So how long? I mean, that must have been several months or a couple of years or what?
More. I would say it lasted between 1 to 2 years when it was really at like its most frequent, consistent times coming
Okay.
up. Hmm.
And were there any stories that went along with that, or did he like it was just this?
He just like, he didn't know what they were. He couldn't make sense of it. And sometimes when it happened, because in his little mind and his little body and not understanding, he'd literally grab his head, his hair, and scream, like, "My brain is going crazy. My brain is going crazy." And I remember
Oh,
one time we were sitting down at Thanksgiving dinner at the in-laws, and it was cold. I live in New England, and it was snowy outside that year. And he literally, in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner, my brain's going crazy, ran out the front door
no.
barefoot in the snow in the middle of Thanksgiving. So then having to explain to my family, "Oh, so it's okay. My son is just seeing things. Like his brain, he's seeing orbs. It's just spirits. It's okay."
Oh my.
Yeah, I had a lot of very, very interesting conversations with family about this.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, yeah, that's so different. So when you were going through all this, what struggles were you going through as a mom?
Um, so struggles that I was going through is the frustration of all of the professionals that were supposed to be able to give me answers and guide me were saying everything is fine and referring me to people that do what I do for a profession, like a school psychologist. And I know from my profession that there's no tests that I can provide within a school setting that are going to assess this. So just feeling really helpless. Um, but what I learned from this experience, and I carry this with me always now, is that what I was ignoring was my intuition. And my intuition that, okay, there's nothing wrong with Brandon. He's perfectly healthy. He's safe. Like there's nothing he's okay. He's experiencing something that doctors aren't used to putting into words or aren't taught about. And I knew in my own heart and soul that what he was experiencing was just him experiencing something on a different energetic level and not having the language to be able to put into words at his young age. So I learned from this to really trust myself and also to teach Brandon to trust himself as well and to lean into when something's coming up inside you, whether you're seeing something, feeling something, sensing something, to get curious about it and not freak out about it, because it can be easy to just freak out if you don't know what it is right away. And curiosity is your friend, and just be like, okay, this is happening. What might this be? What feels right? What feels aligned? And like it never felt aligned with me that there's something wrong with his eyeballs or there's something wrong with his brain. Like it didn't feel right. But like when I heard the validation from the medium that I was working with at that point in my life, that it was so normal and expected, and like this happens all the time with sensitive kids that are empathic. Like,
Huh.
oh, okay. I'm so happy that I happened to be in that space with that woman at that time and ask that question, because that just gave me so much relief.
Yeah. Well, so I'm really glad that you learned to trust your intuition and that you taught your son to do that too. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Um, so our family might be a little unique in that we do have me definitely much more so than my husband, but we have a lot of conversations about trusting your intuition. What does that feel like? Knowing how to work with energy, recognize energy, utilize energy to a way that is helpful for yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally. And so it's been good because I think that we have a lot of really open and honest and curious conversations where no topic of conversation is off limits. We just look at it and we're curious, like, huh, like kind of like a little science experiment. I wonder what this is all about. Let's explore this. And so, my hope is that this will carry into like the bigger conversations of teenagehood and young adulthood when they're having reaching topics or having crossroads in their lives or challenges or peer pressures that we always just have this open, like there's nothing that you cannot tell me or talk to me about and I will not freak out. I promise you. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna figure it out together.
That's so amazing. I love that. Um, yeah, it's great to see that you're teaching them something that we're taught almost to suppress, right?
Mm-hmm.
In our modern
Yeah,
day crazy lives, like they're like, nope, nope, nope. You just go, go, go. You do, 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 and stop
totally.
thinking.
Yeah. Or like something that is out of the norm, like Brandon seeing these orby things in his eyes. Like people might feel like, oh, this is outside, like as adults or young adults might think this is too like not mainstream conversation. So I'm just not going to talk about it. And how
Right.
many people out there might be experiencing something that because it's not regularly talked about, they choose to suppress it and keep it to themselves. And that's just not healthy or helpful for anybody in society. And it's certainly not what I want for my kids or for my family or anybody in my circle really to feel that there are topics or parts of themselves that need to be suppressed or kept hidden from others, that
Yep.
all of you is beautiful and all
Yes.
of you is going to be celebrated, I think doing that and modeling that gives permission for those around you to do the same.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm just curious, after you learned about this, have you had any other kids referred to you with the same?
That's so interesting. Not for that particular thing. And here's the thing though, because I work in a public school setting as well. That's one of my hats that I wear as a school psychologist. And unfortunately, the public education system can be rigid in terms of what is acceptable to speak about and what is not acceptable to speak about within the walls of public education.
Mhm.
And that is something that I know there are a lot of strong opinions across this country for, against all sides. And so it's challenging because I will, with the students that I'm working with, a lot of times, as in my role as a school psychologist, they do share with me some of the things that they might not share with other people. And so I am privy to some of the fringe things that are happening in their lives. And I feel stifled in a way of being able to help them find language to access it for fear of being punished by the
Yeah.
system of stepping outside of my lane, and
Yes.
people thinking that I'm trying to indoctrinate kids or and that's absolutely not what I'm doing. But I also know that there's a lot of uncertainty and confusion and misinformation about things. And so it's unfortunate. It is interesting though, because like law of attraction, people that experience, I just like, I get all the stories. Like I really do. And both in my personal life, my work life, everything. I don't know if people feel comfortable talking to me about this. Outside of the public education system, absolutely. I do a deep dive with my clients, adults though, because I do work with adult women
Yes.
about what the different sensations or experiences they're having might be, could be, and we explore together what their truth is. And so that is really cool. And that in a coaching practice that I've created for myself, there's not a box that I have to stay in. I
Yep.
can I can speak to whatever I want to. And if I'm drawn to speak to the science behind the psychology of why you're doing something that you're doing, or lean into, ooh, energetically, I'm feeling that perhaps there's a blockage in your throat chakra because you're
Yes.
really not communicating your truth. And let me help you shift that. Like you can pull on everything. And there's not really the only rules in coaching are the ones that you impose upon yourself. And for me, I choose to utilize whatever resources and knowledge experiences that I have to best serve the client that is in front of me.
Nice. So I love that you use your psychology experience, your Reiki experience, and your coaching experience all in one in your business.
Thank you. I love it
um,
too. Yeah. I feel like just very authentically me doing this, which is so cool to
yeah.
me.
And
Yeah.
different people might need different aspects of it.
100%. 100%. And
Yes.
there's truly no right or wrong. I do think with coaching, it's really important to meet your client exactly where they are with what their comfort level is at that time. And then as you work together, maybe we'll stretch and grow that together and see
Yes.
other possibilities.
I love that. I agree because I do that with women struggling with physical symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And, um, you can't do everything at once. You can't do the nutrition, the exercise, the stress reduction, this improving sleep, everything all at once. So we pick one,
Yeah.
work
And
on
just
that,
bring
and
it.
then it'll flow into the other things.
Exactly, exactly. And then small successes start to build momentum and then you see what's possible and it just opens up your mind to um, maybe non-traditional things that you didn't think about in the first place. And it's really empowering when you just learn other skills that were never taught to you, that you just didn't know about. Right? Because then you're like, oh, wow. And I know you and I have talked about this before. Like, how come more people aren't talking about this?
Yes.
Different things.
Yeah, it's the same how I talk about the cycle syncing. And,
Yes.
it's not something we were taught in PA school, medical school. So like
Mm-hmm.
it's new information to healthcare
Mm-hmm.
providers too.
Right. And we're
Um,
not taught in schools to work with energy and what that looks
yes.
like. Nope. That's like a totally foreign language. So
Yeah.
yeah. My hope is that in the future there will be less rigidity with what is acceptable to be taught.
Yeah. Nice. So let's talk about about what you do with women.
Mhm.
And if women are feeling stuck, either in their career choice or in their personal lives, what's something you would recommend to them to, if they feel an inner calling, like something needs to change,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not sure what to do about it? Like, what would be the first
Yeah.
thing you would
So
recommend?
that's the thing. When women seek me out or feel inspired to book a call with me, a lot of times the thing that they identify as the presenting problem, maybe I'm fighting with my partner all the time and I'm just not in a good place in my relationship, or I'm miserable at my job, and whatever the presenting problem is, and I'm doing that in air quotes for a reason, because yeah, like, okay, we'll talk about your presenting problem, but 99% of the time, there's something underlying that you
Yes.
didn't realize, and we're going to get you to what that is. And yes, we're going to fix that presenting problem. Yeah, like that will happen, trust me. But we're going to address it from the place of, but why is this happening? What's
Yeah.
out of alignment for you? Because the presenting problem is a symptom of something that's much greater that we're
Yes.
not living in alignment
Yep.
with. And we know this,
Yes.
as a coach, we know this. And it won't be helpful to tell the client that on day one, though, because they're not ready to hear that on day one.
Yeah.
On day one, they need to know that you're going to be able to help them stop fighting with their partner before they go to bed at night, or whatever it is that is on their minds.
Yep.
Um, and so yeah, when I first start working with clients, and maybe even if somebody is listening, like, I don't know if I'm ready to start working with somebody, I don't know. I think I go back to getting curious. Okay, something's not feeling right. If something's not feeling
Yes.
right, sit with that. Don't try
Mm-hmm.
to shut it down, because a lot of times we shy away from our uncomfortable feelings because they're uncomfortable. Don't run away from it. Sit with it, get curious about it, almost befriend that feeling that you're having. And some people can utilize journaling or writing by free association can be helpful. Sometimes people that like to meditating can be helpful. Really ask what that disconnect is trying to tell you. If you can imagine that disconnect or that feeling of something being off as being a person, like with their own identity, that's trying to serve a purpose in your life to help you in some way, what are they doing and how is it trying to help you? What message, what communication is trying to come across? Because I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. And that sometimes can just give you a little bit of insight to know, okay, maybe I could do this small shift and let me see how that feels.
Yes.
And as you always say, let's start small. Like we're not going
Yeah.
to change everything at once.
One thing at a
Pick a
time.
thing. Yeah. And see how it feels.
Yeah.
And
So
that'll be
journaling, I agree, is an amazing way to get in touch with your intuition,
mm-hmm.
back in touch with your intuition. Um, so you have a 28-day self-discovery journal. You
I
want to talk about that?
do. Yes. I felt inspired to create a super simple journal that is accessible to anyone. And I want to share it with anybody and everybody for free because I want people to know how powerful journaling can be as a tool to step into your intuition. So many of people that I have talked to are like, okay, journaling's not for me. They see a blank page and they're like, what the heck am I supposed to write here? I have no idea. So
That
I
was
wanted,
me.
yes, me too, right? So I wanted to make it super simple, super accessible. It's 28 days. Give me a 28-day commitment really to yourself. And the different weeks of the 28 days were down into 4 different weeks, and each day gives you a very specific journaling prompt. It's very short, and I'm only asking for 5 to 10 minutes of your time
Mhm.
because I'm guessing that most people that download this journal or are trying to start journaling are not like, I could journal for 40 minutes and I'm good. Like, no, give me a question, let me answer it in 5 minutes and just get that muscle starting to be strengthened by, okay, this is how I like really turn into myself and check in with myself and see. You'll be surprised what comes out on the page. You really
Yes.
will. And at the end of the 28 days, the magic is looking back and reading it in its entirety, and
Nice.
your story unfolds because it asks about your past, what got you to where you are. It asks about what you're doing in your present. It asks about what your dreams are for your future. And then it ties it together with how are we going to make that happen? What are some actionable steps? So you read that story that you've created for yourself for 28 days, and your intuition is going to be like, ah, here I am. I know what to do.
Oh, that is so cool. I
Yeah.
love that. Just to tell you my journaling story, I journaled a lot when I was in middle school and high school and college, and that was like, my release. But since I had kids, I haven't done it. And then just trying to get back into it was so hard. So I set a 5-minute timer.
Love it.
And the first, oh my God, several months, it would be like 2.5 minutes. I'd be looking at the timer, like, oh gosh, I still have time. I still have time. And then it was like, oh, only a minute left, only 30 seconds left. And then I finally got to 5 minutes. So now I have upped my time to 10. And I'm
That's
like, okay,
awesome.
let's try to get to 10 minutes. And I get to about 7 minutes and I'm like looking at the timer again.
Can you share what journaling has done for you? Like how, since you've integrated it back into your life, what
Um,
have you noticed?
I've noticed I was holding in a lot of things,
Hmm.
um, because I used to journal a lot. And I think that's what got me through my teenage years and my young adulthood. Um, just I used to journal about good things so I would remember them, and troubling thoughts and challenges, and anything and everything. I didn't have an agenda. I didn't have any specific prompts. I just wrote what was on my heart. Since having kids, and you know it really started when I went through my own healing journey.
Hmm.
And so I started, that one of the suggestions was write down all your physical symptoms that you're having every day. So I would write them down, write them down, write them down. And over time, I was like, oh, wait, that one disappeared. I don't have that anymore. Or this one's better. Or this one doesn't pop up every day. Now it's like once a week, right? So that was great. And now that I've been doing it for a long time, I make it a habit to set the timer every morning before I start my work. And like, let me just journal. Let me get whatever I'm worrying about.
Hmm.
If I have a new plan or a new course or a new something that I'm dreaming about, I'll write that down. So it's all out of my head and
Yeah.
just on paper and electronic, and wherever I sometimes, like when I'm waiting in the car pickup line, I'm like, let me just write down a couple of things I have an electronic app journal too, right? So
Totally do that. Doesn't have to
yep.
be fancy.
Yeah.
However,
And it's
what
still a
you
work in
get there.
progress for me. Like
Yeah.
I said, I still look at my timer and I'm like, now what?
But you're creating a practice and you're building discipline in your
Yes.
life to do it and seeing it and making setting the timer for a short period of time makes it manageable and also holds you to be accountable. So I really love that strategy for you and for anybody
Yeah.
really.
Yep. And I will put a link to your 28-day journal in the show notes so people can grab it. Any advice for a woman who knows she needs to change either her career or something in her personal life, but she's just like, you know what? I'm good. Everything is like, I have a routine. I go to work. I have a steady paycheck. I don't want to throw anything off, right? Then what?
So I get this question so much, because change is scary, right? And especially for people that have what a successful life looks like on paper, to be like, oh, I'm not happy with this, or something doesn't feel right. Like, a lot of women that I speak to struggle with that. I personally can relate. I have struggled with that myself. The advice that I would give is, go back to what I was saying before, where you get curious whether you use the journal. And once you've identified some area of your life, be specific as you can, that is feeling a little off, be it your career isn't fulfilling you in ways that you've liked, you're not communicating with your partner in a way that is helpful, I would ask you to like try on for size a small strategy and see how it feels. So, for example, for me, I was feeling really out of alignment in my career working within the public education system, but I wasn't ready to throw it all away and just jump ship and start something totally new. But I knew that it was stifling my connection to source, universe, spirit. So I'm like, you know what? I need to devote more of that. So I signed up for a Reiki class and didn't quit my job. I did it on the weekends. And that actually turned into a pivotal moment of my life, like opening up that, and it just created so many other things. So that one choice, for example, that I made of going to a Reiki class, for you, it might be go to a yoga class, go to that art class, do something that will fulfill that creative need within you, and the answers will flow from you. If it feels right and if it's in alignment, you'll know it in your body, you'll know it in your soul. If you try something that's not landing, you'll know that too. And that's just learning more information and like, okay, this isn't the thing. Let me try this thing. Don't give up. You'll know it when it's right. And you just pick small things that you can do.
Awesome. If people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
So you could just use my website, which is lauraflowersllc.com. I'm also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Laura Flowers LLC. On Instagram, it's Laura Jane23. Also, as you mentioned, I have a podcast, Rediscovering You. You could find me there as well. But really, I'm just happy to have a conversation with anybody. If you just want to explore what's going on with you and what ideas that we might have to be able to help move you to the next phase that's feeling more in alignment.
Yes. Get in touch with Laura. She's amazing.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much I know we have busy school schedules and work schedules and everything. So I want to thank you again for taking time to be here and helping the moms on this show.
I'm so happy to have been here, Ami. This was such a fun conversation.
Amazing.
Are you struggling to be the best mom you can be? Are you fatigued, overwhelmed, and stressed out? Are you losing precious time with your family because of PMS? If so, join my signature 12-week program, the Vibrant Women Project, and you will be a much happier mom. In just 3 months, you will learn how to eliminate your symptoms of PMS, increase your energy, reduce stress, and fully enjoy this incredible mom life. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope you learned something from these stories. If you enjoy this show, please make sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. It really helps this show grow. If you have a mom story you would like to share, click on the link in the description below on becoming a podcast guest. Remember, the content on this podcast is for general information only. It does not replace any medical advice given by your healthcare providers. Please check with your doctor if you have any questions about your specific condition before starting any new diet or exercise regimen. Thank you, and you will hear from me soon.